Thank you, Mr President. Mr President, I rise to speak to the Conversion Practices Ban Bill 2024. And Mr President, I rise to oppose this bill. I speak as a member of this House and as a parent. I oppose this bill as it intrudes on parental rights and places our children at the whims of their feelings and the whispers of the leftist ideologues. Being a parent is not easy, and it's getting harder. Today's parents have the difficult task of guiding their child for a rapidly changing world, made all the more confusing by social media and the thousands of competing voices, all seeking to shape children in their own image and win them to their cause. Yet this bill in its current form criminalises a parent who wishes to protect their child from this undue influence of others. Mr President, no government can love a child more than their parents could love them. And as a parent, love often takes the form of the word no, and subsequently setting of healthy boundaries. Think of the many times a parent has had to say no to their child. They do so out of love, because what the child was requesting was not the best for them at that point in time. This is what responsible parenting looks like. And in fact, the Department of Community and Justice agrees. The DCJ has published a piece online that outlines parental duties and rights. It states, and I quote in part, "Parents have the duty to protect their children's rights until they are old enough to make their own way in the world." Family law in Australia defines the responsibilities that parents have in relation to bringing up their children. These include to protect your child from harm, to provide safety, supervision and control, and to provide medical care. End of quote. Despite this statement from the government, this bill legislates that parents will only be permitted to discuss matters relating to sexual orientation or gender identity with their children. One of the most important topics in life and life-altering decisions, a parent is restricted by the government to a simple series of discussions that must end with the words, "Yes, I love you and know what's best for you in this instance, but it's an offence for me to prevent you from choosing to undergo medical treatment." Mr President, there are no protections in this bill for parents who wish to offer further guidance or exercise their duty of parental authority provided to their children that aligns with the parent's own belief. This flies in the face of the fact that good parenting is about setting appropriate boundaries on the behaviours of their children, such as whose car they hop into, what time they need to be home by, or at what age they sleep over at a friend's place. The good parental practice of saying and enforcing no, not until you're older, has prevented many young people, probably myself included, from making terrible mistakes. The old saying, "Prevention is better than cure," stands true. Parents need to be able to set rules and standards for their family, not simply discuss the topic of sexual identity, because children and teens are dependent on their parents' guidance and advice, not just discussions on important issues. This bill seeks to strip away those rights and responsibilities from parents, as it effectively criminalises the loving actions of parents who wish their children to not undertake life-altering medical interventions. Queensland, however, respects and recognises the important role of parental guidance in their conversion therapies chapter of the Public Health Act 2005, as it is only health service providers that are prohibited from performing conversion therapy on another person. Queensland parents are not censured and are free to choose what medical and psychological treatments is best for their family. Why not here in New South Wales, I ask? The research on the developing brain clearly shows that cognitive decision-making areas of the brain does not mature until the mid-20s. And this concept is enshrined in the common law principle of Dolle Incapax and the age of criminal responsibility. Now, we've discussed that at length some time earlier, Mr President, in relation to another bill, and this is what really confuses me. Indeed, the leftist social engineers in this place have strictly argued that the age of criminal responsibility must be raised. And why is that? It's in part due to the mental development. I quote a recent press release from the Greens. Medical and legal experts are in fierce agreement that children are developmentally incapable of criminal responsibility and the age should be raised. Again, an argument we heard in this very chamber tonight. But, Mr. President, here's the contradiction, and they're always strong in the left side of politics. In one breath, they brazenly state that young offenders are unable to distinguish between the simple truths of right and wrong due to their lack of mental development. Yet, in the very next breath, these people will stand here and tell you, unashamedly proclaim that these same youths know better than their parents, peers and elders and have the mental faculties to intelligently navigate the serious decision-making required to irreparably change their hormones and body. And I'll let you just think about that for a moment. Stuff that we've heard here tonight. This contradiction is sitting in the words of the bill too. This bill states that a person under 18 cannot commit the offence of providing or delivering a conversion practice to an individual. Now, I assume that this is because the drafters of the bill believe that they are not of an age to know right from wrong. But bizarrely, a person under 18 can consent to gender treatment that will irreparably alter their bodies, ignorant to know the law, but apparently wise enough to do what they want with their bodies. And if people like Alex Greenwich and this government get their way, their parents will have no say in the matter. So I urge members of this chamber to join with me in standing up for the rights of parents, to reject government interference in how we lovingly raise our children and oppose this bill.